Wednesday, February 4th was not a good day for the mental psyche of Philadelphia sports fans. Two of the more crazy, unexpected things came about. One, Jared McCain traded out of Philadelphia. Two, Stoutland out as Eagles offensive line coach. What's happening? What's going on? Trending in the AM, taking your thoughts on opinions live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody. Welcome all to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube, Twitter, you know the drill. Wherever you're watching, please hit the like button. Please share this out and subscribe. Even if you're watching this later today on replay, please hit all those buttons. It is free to do. It's free to help support and grow this channel. It costs you nothing. Nothing. So please like, share, subscribe. And even if you're watching on replay, drop those comments. I will respond to each and every one of you. And if you're watching live, make sure you vote on the live poll question. Already humming along here. What was the more shocking piece of sports news yesterday? Jeff Stoutland out as the offensive line coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, or Jared McCain traded away, vote away. I think you're going to see and hear some very, very interesting opinions and thoughts today on this show. So strap in, because today is going to be one of those interesting mornings. I'm wasting no time. We're getting right to the comments. Good morning, Adam. We're losing everyone. This offseason making changes can be good in a way. I like that. It is kind of good. What's up, RW? 4 days away from what would be the 1-year anniversary of winning last year's Super Bowl, yet we are all angry and furious with this franchise. What is going on is the correct answer. What is going on? I'm changing my stance on Nick Sirianni. I think, how do you drive away the best O-line coach ever? Is he the best O-line coach ever? Maybe. But you'd be surprised on how I feel about this Jeff Stoutland situation. And we'll get back to the comments rolling in a second here, because I want to address this. Jeff Stoutland is out as the Eagles' offensive line coach. Yes, Jeff Stoutland is one of the greatest offensive line coaches probably ever. Yes, the best Eagles offensive line coach ever. Yes, a future Eagles Wall of Famer. Yes, built and groomed half a dozen future offensive line Hall of Famers. Yes, but the offensive line stunk last year, right? Injured nonstop last year. Absolutely. Jeff Stoutland did nothing last year. Everybody wanted the Eagles to make changes to the offense. So they're doing it. And now we're all up in arms. You can't ask for change, and then when change happens, not accept the change. So I actually don't think it's the craziest thing. When you go get a job, you don't always want the people that were there. Don't you want to bring in your own staff? There's so much overreaction to Jeff Stoutland. So much of it. And quite frankly, he stunk at his job last year, just like Kevin Patullo did. Good morning, Rick. How you doing? It's a great day to have a great day. Let's have ourselves one today. Let's do it. Jared McCain doesn't make sense, but this is nothing of the known loss of Stoutland. I think that the Jared McCain trade is more shocking and should give fans more outrage than losing an offensive line coach. Last night sucked ass as a Philly sports fan. It did, elephant in the room. It did. Good morning, Robert. Good morning. Stout out, right? Is that what it is? Is that how we do it? I don't understand the love affair with Jared McCain. He's an undersized two-guard who can't defend, doesn't facilitate, and doesn't play on this team. You can get Jared McCain in every draft. Rob, I think you're not. I'm more shocked at the Jared McCain trade. It doesn't mean I don't like the trade. It doesn't mean that it's a bad trade. My issue with the Jared McCain trade is the fact that now you're locked into Quentin Grimes. You're locked in that you better extend him in the offseason. Right? If that was their move to get under the luxury tax, that was probably the weaker attempt to get under it because you're getting rid of somebody that's just starting to regain their form. You could have traded away Art Gordon to get under the luxury tax. If this was done for a draft pick, we had no 2026 draft pick. Fine. If we did this to couple that pick to go get someone else, fine. But just on paper, if that was the last move of the deadline here for the Sixers, if it was just to get under the tax threshold and pick up a pick, it doesn't make sense. The love affair, Jared McCain, I get that part that you're saying there. I do. Maybe we love him too much. Maybe he is a dime a dozen in the draft. But he fit in well in the city. And he was a cheap option, so you don't have to give Quentin Grimes a huge contract in the offseason. Now you do. McCain is a cutie. Yeah. Yesterday was the 8-year anniversary from our first Super Bowl win. I know. Facebook memories remind me every year. The picture I took on my TV screen that said world champions still brings tears to my eyes. Valdez is off the board. Dombrowski stopped sleeping. He's not sleeping. He did exactly what he expected to do, which was nothing. Highly concerning. The Sixers have the faith in Grimes they do. Dude is a world-class bricklayer. Guy sucks. I agree. I find Quentin Grimes massively overrated. I would have rather trade away Grimes. But with the no-trade clause and the way we botched that situation last offseason, now you're stuck. Now you got to keep him, right? And I think that's a bigger issue. Stoutland is out. It is. And I really don't understand the way the Jeff Stoutland situation is unfolding. You got reports from Tim McManus saying that he was pissed off at taking away the run game coordinator role from him, which he was failing at. It was time to move on. We still own his rights as well. So he can't go coach with one of our, rivals or anything like that unless it's a promotion. But we want to change. So we're making change. The same outrage is happening just to a lesser extent with Scott Loeffler, the quarterback coach who's most likely out. We want a change of our offense. We're getting change on our offense, and we're pissed off. I think the bigger question on the Jeff Stoutland retirement is what does it do, or not retirement, stepping away, stepping down, maybe fired in a graceful way, is what does it do for Lane Johnson and his tenure? Future Hall of Famer, the only coach he has known in the NFL to coach his position. Does he want to go towards learning a new system? Or does Jeff Stoutland leaving make Lane Johnson want to hang up the cleats a little premature? I'm good with doing away with the old. NFL is evolving very quickly, and you need to evolve. Last year was no evolution whatsoever. 2024 Temu version. Yeah, I don't get it. Like, I know Jeff Stoutland's a legend in this city. But let's be honest. You can get better on the offensive line. You absolutely can. He did nothing last year to make the offensive line good or better. Got Howard Mudd on line 1, please. Do you? Yeah. They chased a guy out who was the run game coordinator since 18 because you don't know to converse with him. I don't know if it's that as much as, I know the report is that the Eagles didn't consult Jeff Stoutland when they were making changes to the run game. Well, let's be honest, the run game sucked ass. Ken Patullo and Nick Sirianni were trying to save jobs and save the season. Get on board, Stout, or get off. They said Sirianni and Patullo were calling run plays without his input. Well, you know what? Speak up. All right? Grimes is a better player than McCain. I'd rather retain Barlow and Grimes over McCain. Barlow had nothing to do with McCain. You needed the roster spot, right? But you could have opened up that roster spot with Eric Gordon, with Andre Drummond, with countless other moves, okay? I don't know if Grimes is a better player than McCain. Grimes is a more confident player at this point than McCain, but McCain is also a lot cheaper on his rookie deal, okay? Grimes is a free agent. Grimes won at $25 million plus last year. He's going to want $25 million this year. So Jared McCain over the next couple of years at $4.5 million a year, or Grimes over the next 4 years at $25 million, there's a big difference here. You got to take that into account too. I didn't want change if the change included Sirianni having more input. Well, you know what? This is going to be a make or break year for Nick Sirianni. You've lost, a legend in Jeff Stoutland this offseason. You're bringing in an unknown in Sean Mannion. This is going to be one of those off seasons where it's make or break for Nick Sirianni. He shouldn't be on the hot seat, but he is, without a doubt. Sixers fans overvalue guys. We do, absolutely. Just like Eagles fans are overvaluing Jeff Stoutland. But see, the thing is, it's not just the player that we're discussing. This Jared McCain trade, okay? It's not about just who's the better player right at this exact second. It's who has a higher ceiling, who has a lower floor. It's cost, okay? It's fit. It's you're one injury away at guard now that Kyle Lowry's got to play important minutes. Now, you can't lighten the load on Tyrese Maxey, minute-wise, what you need to do. There's more to this trade being the bigger issue yesterday, being a stupid trade yesterday, than just who's better, Grimes or McCain. Who would win in a one-on-one battle? Bring in your own staff. Ain't that, don't you want, as a new offensive coordinator, wouldn't you want to bring in your own staff? Hey, I got these philosophies. I know you guys did this, but this is what I want to do this year. Okay? This is what I told you I'm going to do. This is what I told you I'm going to do that got me the job here. Can I bring my own people in so that I could do my job? Sure you can. Isn't that what you'd want? Or would you? But yeah, you could do what you want, but you got to bring. You also not only teach the new stuff to the players, you got to teach the coach your philosophy. I'm okay with it. How could we be surprised that Sixers did something stupid? What did we talk about yesterday, Mister, on this show? Do we trust Daryl Morey at the deadline? And I unequivocally said, no, I do not. And that move yesterday proves why I have little trust in Daryl Morey. And unless something big happens today, if that was a precursor to something big, which I didn't want anything big anyway, but if it was something big on the horizon, right, that's fine. But if not, if that was the only move, let me tell you something. The fire Daryl Morey, day 1, day 2, day 3, is returning starting tomorrow. Greg Olson, most likely the next quarterback coach, yes. So Scott Loeffler out, most likely, it seems like. Just Stoutland out, it seems like. I do feel bad for Scott Loeffler leaving a head coaching job in college for a one-and-done role in the NFL, but that's the thing. Grimes is terrible. Should be brought up on charges for assault in the backcourt. I don't know if he's that bad, elephant in the room. Phil, in your opinion, do the Sixers make another move before the trade deadline? Another what kind of move, Rick? That needs clarification. I do think they find a way to get rid of Eric Gordon, and they will convert Barlow and Barlow and Walker's contracts to regular deals, whether it's today or tomorrow, because their two-way deals are about to expire. But that's it. I don't think they're going after Giannis Antetokounmpo or Kawhi Leonard or any of those big names. I don't think so. I highly doubt it. But there will be some kind of tinkering on the outside throughout the rest of the day and after the day with the buyout market. So Stoutland was the big bombshell that Adam Schefter was talking about. That might have been the case. Maybe Jeff Stoutland was always going to be the Adam Schefter breaking news, not the Vic Fangio news as we thought. We changed 3 times with him, and he stayed. Change everything but one thing. Yeah, look, I get the love affair with Jeff Stoutland. I love Jeff Stoutland too. He is going to get inducted onto the Eagles Wall of Fame someday, right? Being the fact that how many offensive linemen that came through are going to be in the Hall of Fame based off of his work, I get it. But I also understand that we're making changes. We wanted changes, but then we get upset at some of the changes. Now, I'm willing to give it a year, and then if next year we're in the same spot, then we can say choosing Sean Mannion's guy over Jeff Stoutland was a bad decision. But right now, on paper, I don't know if it's a bad decision or not. The only bad thing, in my opinion, that could come out of this is if Lane Johnson decides to retire because of it. Kobe White, most improved award right next to or behind Maxey. Okay? McCain still doesn't have the lateral quirks. That's a damn shame for that kid. Look, he's going to go somewhere to the defending champs, best team in the NBA right now. A good spot for him. We get a first-round pick. Look, on paper, the trade's not bad. The trade is not a bad trade at all. It's just a confusing trade that I think does not make big picture sense. Quentin Grimes is a really solid player already in this league, whereas McCain was having trouble getting the lawnmower started. And he was finally getting it started lately. But my frustrations with it, Rick and Nooms and all, is more the big picture. Because, again, Quentin Grimes is going to get a 4-year, $80 to $90 million deal in the offseason. Is he worth that? When you have Jared McCain locked in for $4.5, and $6 million over the next couple of years. And Quentin Grimes and Jared McCain, the difference between them when Grimes or when McCain gets his confidence back, it's marginal, the difference between the two of them. McCain can't guard. I mean, he puts effort. Grimes isn't that great a defensive player either, which means he isn't going to play in the playoffs. I disagree. So do you think Stout will end up coaching somewhere else where he'll be sitting around the front office? So from what my understanding on the Jeff Stoutland thing is, he is still under contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. We did not fire him. We still own his rights, Duck. So what can happen? It's two things. He can go to college and coach there. He could go to another NFL team. We can't block him if it's a promotion. So another NFL team would have to make him their offensive coordinator. Okay? And if not, then we don't have to let him go. Okay? The only way you can coach another NFL team this upcoming year is as an NFL or an offensive coordinator. Or we'd have to approve it, which I doubt they would. They're not going to let him go to the New York Giants and be the O-line coach for John Harbaugh. They're not just going to do that. How does one bad year make him expendable? It was injuries and lack of depth. Isn't that Howie? 13 years of success to say it's okay to lose him. The team will move on, but these are big shoes. They are big shoes, Big Al. Big shoes by Big Al. Injuries played a part. Lack of depth played a part. Well, all preseason, we were told, well, Stout will have these guys like Cam Williams and Holland Pierce ready to roll as the depth pieces. They weren't. Yeah, the injuries were there. Did he make any adjustments to fill in those gaps? Look, he failed in his job this year. Whether it was because of injuries or what else, it is what it is. Do I think he should have been let go? Probably not. Do I think it's the end of the world, the most shocking thing to ever happen? No, I don't. I think it's something that we have to realize that these kind of changes might have been necessary. A shock to the system might have been necessary. Phillies need to see contracts have evolved. Yeah, that is true. That is true. How Lonzo Ball, only 4 points per game? I mean, it depends on his role. Thank goodness Vic Fangio is coming back. Yeah, can you imagine the uproar if we lost just Stoutland and Vic Fangio this offseason? They probably knew they were losing Stout, so that's why they had to beg Vic Fangio to stay. Look, this will go towards the anti-Nick Sirianni people very well. You know what this Jeff Stoutland shit is? You know what, the Vic Fangio, the Jeff Stoutland, the drama, the issues, everything that's coming out, Sean Mannion, all this. You know what this is? This is Nick Sirianni putting a flag down at the NovaCare complex. This is my team. You get on board with what we want to do and how we want to do it, or get out. I really think this is Nick Sirianni swinging a flag saying, I'm in charge. I'm going to make the decisions I want. If it doesn't work out, I'm out. But if I'm here, I'm in charge. That's what this is. Get on board with my philosophy. My philosophy changes, or move on. I really think it is. You juju in for the Flyers Tuesday night. Hard to say must win this early in the season. Yeah, I'm too distracted from them right now. $38 million is way too much for Framber. Absolutely agree. Would never have done that. Well, isn't that now like the second or third highest annual? No, I think it's now the highest annual salary for a left-handed pitcher. NFL is always evolving. So much cope. Stoutland been coaching football longer than Sirianni been alive. Let's throw a retirement party. He's 64 years old, Jeff Stoutland. Look, I get it. I get the love affair with Jeff Stoutland. I don't care if Houston wins or their Hornets win their 8th straight. If Stout was going to be a grumpy old man that didn't want to change, then that's a problem when new guys come in. But the dude had a triple bypass. He wants to live. Look, I get it, okay? But you're spot on. If Stoutland did not want to make change, you got to go. I guarantee Nick Sirianni and Sean Mannion had a conversation. Look, if you want to do it, have a talk with him. If he's willing to make the changes you want, great. Sean Mannion's going to run a lot more under center, in theory. Stoutland's O-line has been built for shotgun, mainly. I hope Bazoo has himself all weekend. K1, just not win the event. Mudd has been dead for 5 years, yeah. Phil, would you be interested in bringing Rhys Hoskins back here this year? Absolutely not. I want nothing to do with Rhys Hoskins. Where are you going to find him a place to play? He's not going to play the outfield. We've experimented with that. That's terrible. You've already got a DH, and Bryce Harper isn't moving to the outfield. That has been discussed ad nauseum by the Phillies themselves. So Rhys Hoskins does not fit here unless you want him on the bench. Problem is, we've got an all-righty bench right now, so you need a lefty on your bench, not a righty. So, no, Rhys Hoskins does not make sense here at all, in my opinion. Yes, he did. Shams reported yesterday regarding Barlow. What? Regarding what about Barlow? I mean, I know they're going to, give him the full contract. I don't care about cheaper. I care about guys that can help us in the playoffs. Right, I get you don't. I don't care about cheaper either. But you got to construct the team in a very hard cap situation. You know, you have more flexibility with actual players with McCain versus Grimes on the roster. So cheaper or not does actually matter, big picture. And Jared McCain has been playing well the last week or two. Bazunhood is a golfer. It's just an improperly pronounced way of saying his name, which K1 thinks is hilarious. So much change to the Eagles. That's good. We needed change. We wanted change. We're getting change. Okay? Do we bring in who do we bring in? Dude, let me tell you something. Outside of Jeff Stoutland, I couldn't name a single offensive line coach in the NFL right now. The offensive line coach is one of those not important. I shouldn't say not important. One of those guys that nobody knows who they are. They do the dirty work, right? Before Jeff Stoutland, we knew one other offensive line coach, Juan Castillo. Only knew who Juan Castillo was because he was made the defensive coordinator. That's it. Offensive line coaches are the quietest. I don't know who's next. And honestly, I'm not worried about it. So Sirianni gets second chance because he wins the Super Bowl for 12 great years, and we are okay to move on. Okay, yeah, Sirianni's putting his flag in. This is planting his flag. He's pulling rank, right? It was 13 years, not 12. No. You got to get on board with your boss or get off the train. Maybe Stoutland didn't like the changes. He already didn't like the changes in the run game situation last year. So maybe Stoutland was pushing back to Sirianni and was being a grumpy old man yelling at the streets, slow down, because he didn't want to make change. Do we ever think that this was Stoutland's fault, that he's out of here? because he wasn't willing to make the adjustments the Eagles wanted made to the position? Yeah, if you know, you know. Exactly. I think Lane Johnson will now that Stout is out. Yeah, look, I think there's an argument to be made or a discussion to be had that one of the ancillary things that happens here with Stout out is the potential loss of Lane Johnson now. In 12 years, we had one constant, superior O-line. We did not have superior O-line play this year. And let me be honest with you here. And I've talked about this. And this is a very, very unpopular opinion. I know that, okay? But our offensive line has not been as elite as people think over the last couple of years, okay? You've had two things that have made the offensive line appear great. Well, first off, the offensive line has always been great in run blocking for the last 5-6 years, whether Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, or Saquon Barkley was running. The run game was always great, right? But the pass blocking over the last couple of years has not been great, okay? And you had two constants. You had Lane Johnson, one of the greatest, maybe the greatest right tackle of all time, and Jalen Hurts, a guy that is very capable of avoiding sacks and blitzes, okay? You have a statue back there. The offensive line gave up a lot more sacks if that was the case, okay? The offensive line needed change, needed upgrade, personnel, and coaching. If Stout wasn't on board with making changes, well, deuces. You got to go. Grimes is a better point of attack defender and gets around screens better, but McCain, when healthy, was a smarter player. This year, though, McCain wasn't improving enough. I still would have stuck with McCain over Grimes. But you're right on everything you said there. For me, it's not about McCain's talent as much as it's about the delusion that Grimes, Gordon, and Lowry are good depth guard. Depth, yeah. I agree. You are now looking at a scenario if, say, Quentin Grimes gets hurt, or Jared McCain, or not Jared McCain, sorry, Quentin Grimes or Tyrese Maxey gets hurt. You're looking at Kyle Lowry playing 20 minutes a game. That scares me. Any chance the Sixers parlay those picks that they acquired? Yes, there is a chance that this was step one of something bigger. Okay? Now, they wanted to get under the tax. Not only did they get under it, they cleared getting under it by $3 million now, all right, which brings in more possibilities. They didn't have a draft pick, a first-round pick this upcoming year. Now they do. But they could, in theory, be acquiring that pick to go get a Giannis Antetokounmpo, to go get a Kawhi Leonard or a Brandon Ingram or a Pascal Siakam. They could be. It very could be. Do I want them to? I don't know. But there is definitely that possibility, and there were reports from The Athletic, from Shams Charania, that this was just a prelude to something else coming. Whether it gets done today or not, I don't know. And even if it doesn't get done today, it might get done in the offseason using that pick for a player. For sure. Sixers will do something today to fill McCain's spot. Yeah, they will. They absolutely will do more moves. Whether they're big moves, like Rick was asking, or something smaller, I don't know. But there will be more moves happening. 12 likes. Guys, make sure you guys are hitting the like button. There's 20 people watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share this out. I've missed the fire. Well, let me tell you something. If nothing else happens, K1, there's a chance I might start the Fire Morey shorts day one tonight. I very well might. Honestly, if Daryl Morey wasn't the head of front office, Kyle Lowry and Gordon would not be in the NBA. That's possible. It's possible. I think McCain starting to get his shots blocked really just started making things clear for this team. It's possible. 76ers need to find a way to get Siakam. I think you were the one on him yesterday. I don't know if I'm trading Jared McCain to get an extra pick to go overpay for Siakam. The problem with Siakam to me is I don't know what he's worth in a trade. I don't. I really don't. Because you see Anthony Davis getting traded for so much yesterday. You see other guys getting traded for nothing. The value that teams are putting on stars in the NBA right now is whack right now. I'm not trading. I know you'd have to trade a first for Siakam, but I wasn't going to trade McCain to get an extra pick to sweeten the deal for Siakam. The only thing that is aggravating is not giving McCain the full time to recover from that injury. Agreed. Whomever the Eagles hires a new O-line coach is a downgrade. Maybe. Maybe not. If the new guy understands the system that Sean Mannion wants to run, if the new guy is willing to pivot to the new system that Sean Mannion wants to run, why we don't know if it'll be a downgrade. The offensive coach should be able to bring in his own people. Exactly, Robert. Do you want square pegs in round holes? I don't. I don't know how to fit them. Not just jamming that square peg in a round hole just because I want it to fit. If Stout wasn't willing to make adjustments to his philosophies to fit the new direction that was needed, we all wanted a new direction. We're getting the new direction. Well, you know what? New direction means change. I want to comment on the record on Hornets trade. What Hornets trade? I do not track anything that's going on with the Charlotte Hornets. Zero, zilch, zip. I don't know what you're talking about. McCain is a dime a dozen player that wasn't going to get minutes on this team, and we just got a first rounder and 3 seconds for a mid player. Sixers fan have attachment issues. Again, I'm okay with the trade. You got a good value return for Jared McCain. That Rockets pick has some flips to it. There is potential, I read, rare, or not likely, but small percentage chance that it turns into a lottery pick, that draft pick we got. So we got great value for McCain. My problem isn't that. My problem is big picture after this year. You're giving up on a young guy that's not even 21 yet, that hasn't fully developed, for a guy in Quentin Grimes who's already 24, 25, who we know who he is, and he wants to be paid like a lot better than what he actually is. To Embiid, no play. What? He didn't play yet the other day. That is why McCain didn't play in the second half. The other night, because a trade was being formulated. Maybe. Grimes is just another Ish Smith. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, no offense, Rob, you think we're overvaluing McCain. We're not. We know what McCain is. I think you're overvaluing Quentin Grimes. That's the problem. Everyone wants Giannis. I do not want Giannis. I don't. What's up, Steve? How you doing this fine morning? Waste management, NBA trade done day. Yeah, there's lots happening today. It's a busy day for me and you, right? Morey didn't know he was getting the third overall pick when he picked McCain. VJ is just a better fit here, plain and simple. And you know what? The emergence of VJ Edgecombe definitely probably made making that trade for Daryl Morey easier. Absolutely. Now, we're all trash talking, Jared McCain. Not all of us. Some of us are. But what's it say that about him that Oklahoma City wanted him bad enough to give up a first-round pick that has a slight chance of being a lottery pick? Obviously, OKC sees something special in him. What's up, Little G? Good morning to you. Hope you are well. Phil, have you any Akshay Bhatia shares? He is in a bunch of my DFS lineups. Actually, only ended up in 4 or 5 of my lineups. I did not bet him to win, but he is in my lineup, so I've got some love on Bhatia this week. Phil, be patient, bro. I'm trying to learn about NBA until UFL starts. Good. Yeah, just watch the NBA instead. Hey, like, subscribe, share. Guys, they're both old, one with health problems, one with 40 years in. You can't rely on the press. Just rely on your own eyes and logic. I think the logic is that it's okay that Stout's out. Stout out is okay. It's not as big of a deal as people think it is. You don't need the press to drive your expectations. You do not. There's nothing there saying he's retiring. Stoutland, no, he's not retiring. He hasn't said he's retired. Okay? He just says he needs a new thing. The problem is, because we own his rights under contract, it's not like we have to worry about him being an O-line coach for another team in this city. Fuck the Flyers, Phil. I did not say that. Do not put words in my mouth. Did not say that. Not at all. Not at all. Did not say that. Don't be blaming me. Don't be blaming me. Trying to do something over here on the side screen here. Adam so probably will be Stoutland's replacement. Maybe Dwayne. Yeah, I don't know who any of those guys are. None of them. Not sure who any of them are. Because I don't know who offensive line coaches are. We're not supposed to know the name of the offensive line coaches. At least not in my opinion. Jared McCain is taking his nail polish to OKC. Press it on nails with Thunderbolts is lit. What? Look, I'm going to miss Jared McCain's personality as well. I am. I love Jared McCain's infectious personality. One of my very good friends, Grant, lives out in that Oklahoma City Thunder area, region. He is a huge Thunder fan and also a Jayhawks fan, which is his one downfall. But I've texted with him already. He's getting a gem of a personality out there. Say what you want about Sirianni, but he's earned the right to have whatever coaches he wants. I agree, Rick. I do. I do also think that this is Nick Sirianni putting a flag in the ground saying, this is my team. This is my team. Get on board with my philosophies and my new coaching philosophies or get off. Plain and simple, right? Yet Jalen had more success under center this season. He did. But they still didn't do it much, the under center. Man, I am way behind on comments. We are 13 minutes behind on comments. I'm going to rapid fire through some of these. Harper to right field. Yeah, no, I'm not moving Harper to the outfield. The Phillies definitely don't want to do that either. You're also seeing the downsize to CEO head coach model. More fat power down low. Absolutely. Absolutely agree with that. That's actually, I wanted to rapid fire. CEO head coach model means other people think they get too much power. But the Stout deserves the power to not change? I disagree. Always be careful what you ask for. Every genie wish ever. Yeah, exactly. Juan Castillo was really awesome and every bit. Yes, absolutely agree. I'm not investing my time on the Phillies this year. I no expectations for me. I'll take my kid to a couple of games. Go to a Reading Phillies game or something else. Please react to the trade rumor. Do you like it or hate it? Edmundo Sosa for Mike Trout. LA pays half. I don't really want Mike Trout. I don't know if that's a real rumor or not. I'll write it down and look later. But I don't hear that as a real legit rumor. If it doesn't work out, you think Sirianni's fired? Yeah. I think at least there's a chance that Sirianni could be. It depends. If it doesn't work out, how? If he doesn't win a Super Bowl, he's not getting fired. But if he misses the playoffs or is one and done in the playoffs and it's like last year again, it's possibly he's one and done. Or he's out. The Eagles are in some shit. Maybe first and second Cowboys, Giants. No, not at all. You're so off base there, Vass. Adam said very likely to be the replacement, but would have rather have Stout. Again, I don't know who that is. Fact of the matter is Stout did not show ability to alter. Exactly. It just stayed the same. Both KP and Jeff Stoutland are gone in some part because of that. Yes, absolutely. It was because of low player performance, bad play calling, and injuries. The offensive line failed last couple of years. Yes. But did Stout do anything to fix it? Mackenzie Hughes, justify my love. He is on my list. I love Mackenzie Hughes. If you want to dip into the 6K, he got double starred on my player pool. Mackenzie Hughes is a great DFS play. Maybe a top 20 or top 40 bet as well. Don't lose sight of the buyout market February 5th. And now we have more room for the buyout market being way under the threshold. Today is a pretty good test, last 5 games. Absolutely. Stout, a big reason for the success, guys like Swift, Sanders, and 2000 for Barkley. Absolutely. Absolutely true. Sixers need to stop Hillbilly Kobe tonight. What? Seems like the value on undersized guards is plummeting. Maybe. Phil B doing revision to narratives on the Eagles. Nope. What's up, Marshawn? Everyone begged for a new offense. What the hell? Yeah, exactly. This is my point of the whole thing. That's why McCain is getting dominating the poll, but should be winning the poll, which was more shocking. You want change, you're getting change, and now you're pissed off. As head of Square Peg Local 1306, I resent your remarks, Mr. Stiefel. Gotcha. Union. You're a union boss. Unions ruin everything. Not sad about the McCain trade at all. It's not that it's sad. You can replace Jared McCain in the offseason. It's the Quinion Grimes part of it that bothers me. Facts. Eagles O-line was due good. It rejuvenated Barkley's career. Slightly above average quarterback all day to pass, causing the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. Have you ever seen what happens to an organization that has completely lost historic knowledge? It is seldom makes the organization great quickly. But square peg in a round hole was Howard Mudd, making the Eagles hire his redneck buddy Jim Washburn. Yeah. We got 4 picks for a player averaging 6.6 points per game who hasn't looked the same since the injury. Love McCain, but we have seen worse trades for less compensation. And that's fine. I'm still shocked it happened. I still don't like the the ancillary part of it, which is Quentin Grimes being stuck here long term now. Haven't watched Sixers games since Allen Iverson. Well, you're missing a fun season right now. Everyone does. Under 18 weeks, 2 buys, 2 short, Super Bowls rigged. Well, that's another whole subject. Stout not fitting in with the new staff could have turned it into a Washburn situation. I agree. Agree. Can't be worried about what OKC's in our players. Okay, that's fair. That's a fair statement. What is the coconut song James Bond sings in The Island and Dr. No? I don't know off the top of my head. No Stoutland in not just big news, it's humongous news. I don't think so. The Flyers are, Anthony Davis went to Washington. First you got Utah making big trades, massively out of the playoff picture. Now you got Washington making big trades. That's what I don't understand about the NBA this year and the trade deadline. We lost TJ McConnell, and we are just fine. Jared might be better than TJ, and guess what? We'll be fine. There's a lot of positivity that the Sixers will be fine there, Marshawn. I think McCain will wind up being a microwave scorer in this league with the right rehab plan. He has the large leg and strength base to succeed long term. I got you, K1. Older people having a history with Hurts know his game is the shotgun, regardless if it was success under center. If they weren't going to embrace him under center, it could have been an issue. Yeah. We didn't win with Hoskins before. I don't see us winning now with an older, declining Hoskins, who is also probably one of the worst first. Yeah, look, Hoskins is not the answer here in Philly. It's a logical fallacy to think that Morey is smarter than the OKC. That is true. You know, whenever I see Daryl Morey do anything trade-related, I just instantly think we lost the trade because Daryl Morey doesn't make good trades. Flyers will be better next year under Tocchet. He needs time to get everyone to learn his system. That's very possible. Very possible. I'm going to fact check. Phil, go for it. Do it. Do we want Kelsey as our new O-line coach? No, I don't think so. I think we need to back off on Jason Kelsey. Just let him go do his thing. I don't need Jason Kelsey coaching the O-line or part of the organization. I have no faith in Xander. I don't like Xander Schauffele this week. I think you can get some good value on him on DFS play because of his missed cut last week. He's probably going to be lower owned, but I don't like Xander this week at Waste Management. I think there's a lot better value betting and in DFS play. But if you're not a golf fan, you should watch golf this week. The Waste Management Phoenix Open, the People's Open, the greatest show on grass, the highest attended sporting event, or one of the 3 highest attended sporting events in U.S. history is Waste Management in 2018. They have the ability to host up to 300,000 people over 4 days. It's a crazy party down in Scottsdale. Howie and Jeffrey did an interview in OC. They interviewed Sirianni's replacement. I think Nick knows it. I don't think so. But I do think that they're saying, all right, you want control, fix it. You fail, guess what? You're going to have to answer to it. Austin Reeves' nickname is, okay. Had no idea on that one, Nooms. No idea. I was wondering what that meant. Might have to drink a stout on tonight's podcast in honor of Stoutland. That's a good one. I like that. I know it's far-fetched, but I wonder if Kelsey would be interested. The second person to say that, I don't know. Maybe I'm still just a little Kelsey burnout that I'm still facing at this point. Okay? I really think I have a little Kelsey burnout, and I don't need Kelsey right now. OKC should be excited about McCain, but they could afford that trade. If Daryl doesn't do anything else, then I hope Joel asks out. See, this is another thing. Like, what's the secondary thing of Stout? Maybe Lane Johnson retires, right? Well, what about Joel? Joel Embiid saying the other day, we have a decent squad right now. Let's get better at the deadline and make a run. Does trading Jared McCain for future assets make them better this year to make a run? No. So it better be a precursor to another trade. Otherwise, after this year's over, Joel Embiid's probably going to be like, yo, get me the F out of here. Which is, in theory, a good thing, right? If we want to move on from Joel Embiid. I don't know if I want to. But let me tell you something. If you don't go out and make another trade, Joel Embiid is going to ask for a trade. No doubt about it, in my opinion. Phil, give your takes. That's why we tuned in. I'm giving you my takes. Pearson Cootie is my favorite Waste Management. and he's pronounceable. Look, I love Cootie this week. I do. I love some Cootie this week. I think he could win. He's in a lot of my lineups. I have an outright bet, a top 10 bet, and a top 20 bet all on Pearson Cootie this week. What's up with the redneck hate? I love our rednecks. What? TJ proved he could contribute. Yeah, I think we still are missing TJ McConnell and his leadership. Xander Cage is greater than Xander at the Waste. Do you even know who Xander at Waste Management is? It's Xander Schauffele. Okay? We all have a little redneck in us, something like that. They were supposed to be better every year since 73. Or 75. That's true. That's very true. Kelsey is making too much money and having too much fun. Yeah, I don't want Kelsey. I don't think Kelsey has any interest right now. Maybe down the line, if he gets bored with the TV stuff, he will. But at this point, I see no scenario where Kelsey wants to coach at this point. Best Super Bowl food, hamburgers or saucy chicken wings? I'm not a big wing guy. I don't know. I'm a chips and dip guy. Give me like 3 different dips and a load of different types of chips to dip them in. That's my favorite Super Bowl food. Well, if Joe keeps playing like this, you will still need to get value for him. That's true. That's true. But let me tell you something. Joel Embiid is not going to be happy, right? If they don't make improvements to this team, if they downgraded this team. Oh, absolutely. Kelsey's making big bucks right now. Sixers game tonight, 10 p.m. I'll be asleep by 10:30, but yes. The deadline's what, 5 today? The Thunder plucked McCain from the Sixers to bolster their title defense. That is correct. Lane Johnson, player, coach. Maybe that's something. I don't know. Maybe sausage and peppers on like I'm a huge sausage and peppers with onions fan, especially if you got nice spicy mustard to go with it. First thing I do when I go to a Phillies game is go right to the Hatfield sausage stand and get me a peppers and onion sausage sandwich on a bun. It's my favorite type of sandwich. I love it. The Sixers simply didn't have room for McCain in their rotation after the dual emergence of Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. Well, Maxey's been emerging for a while. I would envision Lane as a coach way before Kelsey. I agree with that. I really think Lane would probably make the better coach. Lane does not strike me as somebody that wants to get into media. Kelsey's personality wanted him to get into media. Like, you could just tell he's got media written all over him, right? But Kelsey, not so much. Guys, finally, it only took 47 minutes, but we are caught up on the comments. So please, if you have not, there's 16 likes. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Subscribe to the STT Sports Network YouTube page. Started today at 1,017 subscribers. Had a little stutter step early in the week on subscribers. For the last 48 hours, we picked up a few more. So, guys, keep hitting those buttons, please. It's free to do. Furburger and nipple. What? I don't even. What? Joker's still the best. What? Did you serve that at the restaurant? Sausage and peppers? At times, as a special, I did. At times, not all the time. It wasn't a regular permanent fixture on my menu. Lane Johnson, top 5 all-time Eagles. Oh, man, that's a tough one. Top 5? If he is, he would be 5th. That's close. He's real close to that top 5 all-time for the Eagles. Absolutely. We'll write that down. Sam Burns, super cheap. You'll never know. He has 5 tour wins. Look at you, K1. K1 really trying to get the golf chat going on Trending in the AM, and I'm all for it. I wish more golf comments popped up. One, I love Sam Burns. Great putting. Normally wins you golf tournaments. Can Sam Burns go 20 under this week? I don't know. But I like Sam Burns regularly. I don't have much, if any, investment in him this week, just because I don't. I'm not even sure why. But, yeah, Sam Burns is always a great play. Depends on criteria, but I don't think anyone is kicking out Lane out of a top. Depends on the criteria, but I don't think anyone is kicking out. Yeah, I think he's right there about 5. But that's about it. Did you know Carl Henderson? The sports card shop. No, I did not. Great job by Chet and Bill honoring him on their show last night. I did not know him. Never even heard of him, to be honest with you, Robert, till I saw the outpouring of love and support to him passing away this past weekend. Sad, but, it's crazy how business owners they become loved in communities and stuff like that. Really is. So thoughts and prayers and positive vibes to his family and friends and everybody that knew him. Definitely top 10, Kelsey also. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt Lane and Kelsey are top 10. Top 5, I don't know. Surprised no one has blamed A.J. Brown. That is true. I was actually thinking of that, Nooms. I was thinking about that this morning. How A.J. Brown's got to be at fault here. I will say this. I contemplated the idea that Vic Fangio wanted to retire maybe because of the drama, right, that this team had. Now, Stoutland isn't retiring. Stoutland wasn't fired. Stoutland is just being pushed aside to a different role in the organization at this point. But I wonder if any of this is the drama around the offense last year that Stout's like, yo, I really don't know if I've got it in me. So maybe Stoutland pushed back on change just to have an easy out. I'm not blaming A.J. Brown, but I'm blaming the drama around the team. Maybe. I don't know. You would think AI got traded yesterday. Look, artificial intelligence cannot be traded, okay? I'm just kidding. No, I get it. I understand why people think I'm overreacting to Jared McCain. I don't think losing Jared McCain this season makes that big of a deal. And if you use that draft pick to make this year's team better, even better. My issue is that next year, the year after that, I think you're putting yourself in a hole by forcing yourself to have to retain a very mediocre Quentin Grimes. I do. I think that's a big part of it to me. It's my dislike there. And it's the fact that if Daryl Morey thought it was a good trade, that most likely it probably wasn't a good trade. What's up, Bruce? Good morning to you. Hope you are well today. Andrew Novak, first-round leader. Vilps, top 30 in the gala with the win. I like it. I wonder what that all parlayed together is. Do you know what Nick Castellanos said to Rob Thompson that discussed it? The clubhouse that got him benched. Can you hint at the gist? If you can't say specifically, can Nick Castellanos redeem himself? Nick Castellanos isn't going to be here. Nick Castellanos, I forget exactly, but it was when Nick Castellanos got benched mid-game for something he did not like it. Nick Castellanos did not want to be a platoon player, but was playing like a platoon player, and he spoke his mind, and Rob Thompson didn't like it. I forget the details, though, Minnesota fans. But I know he's still technically on the team, but he will not be in Clearwater next week. He's not. I am completely in shock that no one has mentioned A.J. Brown, probably because the press didn't think for people this time around, possibly. How long until Ada Miller supplants Bohm? Choose one before May or after May. Look, it's after May. Alec Bohm still being on this team means Ada Miller will not be on this team this year. I fully expect Ada Miller to be in the minors the entire season, barring a crazy injury. I think Ada Miller should be starting day one. If we're going to have to suffer with this Phillies team, give me Ada Miller, Justin Crawford, and Andrew Painter from day one. That's what I would do. Give me all the young kids. But with Alec Bohm still being on this team, I expect Ada Miller to spend the entire season in AAA or AA. Maybe he can't take the bullshit. Maybe he can't. There's a very real possibility of that. Henderson community definitely loved him. Got you. Yeah, I didn't know him personally, Carl, but, man, the story that's coming out about him, you got to love it, right? You got to love it. If Houston gets bounced to the first round, then it's probably between a 16th to 20th pick. I did see a rumor. I think there might be some pick swaps with some teams involved in that pick. Because I did read something somewhere that there's like a 5 or 6% chance that it could be a lottery pick. And Houston's not missing the playoffs. So I'm not sure where that comes into play or how. Didn't have time last night to research it too deeply. Yes, BJ Edgecombe is a rookie. I feel the trade is good as we have a lot of guards, and now we will get a lot of draft picks and money to sign some of our players in free agency. Problem is, I don't like the player that we're going to sign in free agency with him. I want to be in clear. I want to be in Clearwater too. Trust me on that. Fort Myers, 2.5 weeks. With an offseason to digest reality, don't be surprised to see Casty here for assurance. Look, I don't think it's out. Hold on. I don't think Castellanos is going to be here. Would it shock me if they just say, screw it, bring him in? No. Would it shock me if he reports to training camp to maybe up his trade value or interest from other teams? No. I would be shocked if he's on the roster day one, but in Clearwater, maybe not. Maybe that's not crazy. Far better players have been traded by the Sixers that have gone to do greater things. Jarrett will be one of them, or maybe he doesn't. That's just how it is when you have a shit organization. Well, that's all accurate right there. You're not wrong in anything you say here, Marshawn. Not in the least bit. A lot of my problems with the trade are definitely my lack of faith and trust in Daryl Morey. When I think of Daryl Morey making trades, I think he loses. Even though we talked yesterday about how, in theory, he won both James Harden trades anyway. We hated them at the time, but he won them in hindsight. So maybe Daryl Morey deserves more respect and trust than we give him. But in hindsight, it's not the same as in the moment. I just think it shocked everybody so much, the Jared McCain trade, because nobody saw it coming. Nobody expected this. A lot of people enjoyed it or liked his personality. He vibed well. He fit in the Philly culture very well. I think there's a lot of that as well. Trading McCain tells you how Morey feels about VJ. That's fine. That's fine. Diabetes can sneak up on you with the unquenchable thirst and frequent trips to the bathroom. Test your sugar often. We haven't had a diabetes check-in in a while, so it makes me happy to see the diabetes check-in. We know you hate Morey. You have lobbied to fire him. I know. It's not. I don't hate, because I don't hate anybody. Hate's too strong of a word. I do want him to lose his job. And what I'm saying is maybe that's making me overreact to this trade a little bit more than I should be. Because I don't think it affects, unless somebody got injured, it does not affect the outcome of this season one bit, that Jared McCain trade. It affects the future of this team. It affects future outcomes of this team. But it doesn't affect this 2025-2026 Sixers team one bit, right? Not at all. It affects future. And yes, I don't like Daryl Morey. Never lied about that. I can see Dave Dombrowski wasting a roster spot in hopes of trading an expired contract in Casty. Maybe. Maybe. I didn't think we'd be at this point on February 5th thinking he still could be here. I like the idea of him maybe reporting to Clearwater, putting on the brave face, doing whatever's asked of him, and then getting traded. Keep those triglycerides under 95. All right, we've hit 20 likes today. We still got at least 30 minutes to go. Guys, this is Trending in the AM, the #1 morning show in Philadelphia, even if you didn't know it. I've always been your morning host, even if you didn't know it. Guys, if you haven't yet, like the video. Share this out. Take this video, click share it out on one place, please, and subscribe if you have not. Please, let's go. Day number 37. Now, we're going to start over. Day 1 of calling out Daryl Morey. Bazoon Hoots countryman Garrett Higo tees off at 3:06, in case you were wondering. I was not wondering on Garrett Higo. I missed those during show tunes. What? Did I miss something there? Anyway, where are we at with the poll question? We are at, what is a more shocking piece of Philly sports news yesterday? Stoutland out. McCain traded. Stoutland out 75% to McCain 25%. We're talking about shocking. What shocked you more? I think Jared McCain getting traded should be winning this poll, because Stoutland out isn't shocking. You're bringing in a new coaching staff who want to do their own thing. Of course he's going to be out, unless he's on board with the changes. How many of Daryl's trades do you actually think was a bad move after all the dust settled? And I said this yesterday, Marshawn. Maybe you weren't listening at that point of the show. Maybe I've been wrong. Because let's go. The two Harden trades, months later, years later, we won them both, right? What other trades has he made that I could – Paul George was a free agent signing. So I'm not even sure which other ones could be valued good or bad. But, I mean, he won the Al Horford trade getting rid of him, right? So maybe Daryl Morey gets unnecessary hate from me. And maybe I'm willing to admit it. Maybe I've got to change my tune on Daryl Morey. Maybe. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I can. But yeah. Yeah, I forgot to turn them on. I turned them on mid-show. I guess they don't work mid-show if I turn them on. Totally forgot to do that. My bad. I really got to get used to this whole turning the ads on when I set the show up. Do you like Ryan Fox this week? Ryan Fox is not anywhere on my card this week. Couldn't even have told you he was in the field this week. He did not pop in my model, so I didn't do research. He didn't pop in my recency bias or my course history bias. So, no, not in on Ryan Fox this week. I feel you were right about Daryl. I mean, I could be wrong. Stout out is a huge deal. You'll see this next season with all the canyons in the O-line. There were canyons in the O-line in 2025 with Stoutland. Let's be honest. Jeff Stoutland did not do his job last year. At least he did not do his job well last year. Oh, that's what you're talking about. I hate those commercials so much. I do like how Howie is flying under the radar. Howie's got a lot of work to do. He has got a crazy offseason in front of him with so many decisions looming. Jeff Stoutland coming back, I don't think he really cares one iota about that, right? Morey used a high first-round pick on McCain, passing on Dalton Knecht, who would be the perfect fit here. Then traded said pick for cap relief. Let that sink in. That's interesting. That's interesting. But putting the Dalton Knecht part of it into the conversation, right? Hasn't Dalton Knecht fallen out of favor already? Hasn't he? I think he's already out of the rotation. But I know there's talk of him being traded. If all we did was trade Jared McCain for the cap relief, the luxury tax bill relief, okay, then it's a bad trade. Because you could have gotten that luxury tax relief doing so much else, right? If it was part of a bigger picture, bigger plan, then let me just say, we'll see. The pump man is here. We are not. We're very, very curious on this conversation. We are. I think we've got a lot of varying opinions on Stoutland, on McCain. We do. Jalen's going to be running for dear life. They're going to have to get Jalen one of them padded helmets. Could be the case. Very well could be the case. But Jalen was running for his life this year, too. And it didn't do any good. Little pill with a big story to tell. I'm not going to try to sing it. The Italian side of my family, all at type 2, but my mother and I cut pasta to every once. Yeah. I see. Jared McCain trade was malpractice. Hurts ran Stoutland. Hurts had nothing to do with Stoutland, okay? Nothing to do with it. If you want to blame somebody for running Stout out, it's probably Nick Sirianni. Because Nick Sirianni is giving Sean Mannion the right to make changes to the coaching staff. He wants his own guys. That's got to be what it is. If you take your Hurts hate glasses off, I doubt Hurts had anything to do with Stout out. Now, Jared McCain, I thought that was the case at first. Now, some of the comments are telling me, or convincing me maybe the McCain trade isn't that big of a deal. It's not a big deal this year. It could be a huge deal later. I hated the trade. I stopped in my tracks. My phone, I was out door dashing yesterday afternoon for a few hours. I stopped in my tracks because my phone just beep, beep. Adam, Jimbo, O'Rourke. My phone just kept blowing up. The Fairway to Heaven group chat when McCain got traded. all over the place. What's up, Scotty? I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. I love to get my man Scotty's thoughts on this Jared McCain trade. I hated it. Now I'm being told there's reasons, and it makes sense to some people. It still is a hard pill to swallow for me. Very hard pill to swallow. Unless something big is going down today. If we find out today that Jared McCain trade leads to something else, then I might be able to swallow it. Maybe I'll be able to handle it. But on paper, right now, it's a tough pill to swallow, losing out on Jared McCain. It really, really is. Really hard to move on from that. What bootlicker told you the trade was okay? Well, see, the thing is, and it's not, you can say bootlegger. I'm just going to say it, trying to see the other side of it, that you got a first-round pick for a guy that's not part of our rotation, that Jared McCain has his flaws, he hasn't fully recovered from his injury yet, that it could be leading to something bigger. I don't like it because I'm not a Quinion Grimes fan, and it means more Quinion Grimes in our future. McCain trade was me. Okay. See, I was like, okay. I was like, what? Like, seriously? I got 5 DMs or texts from different people that the trade went down within a minute. And I still had to fact check it. It's one thing if just Adam or Jim or just one person messages me, yo, a big trade just went down. I'd be like, is it real, or were they just looking at fake Facebook pages? When you get 5 messages, it's true. But I still had to fact check it because that's how crazy it was. Look, between Stoutland and Lane maybe bouncing after the next injury, the Eagles are in deep. Look, the Lane Johnson situation is the biggest thing to come out of Stoutland. Does Lane Johnson even want to play without Stout? I don't know. Here's the thing. We needed Stout to train Lane's replacement. Now he's not going to be here for that. That's a big deal as well. So you better hope Lane sticks around to help train his own replacement. I'll be fine with the trade if it leads to a bigger move. Exactly. Until we see the end product at the end of this deadline later today. We just don't know. Still collecting envelopes to friends of ours. What? Rage was not even close to my... Rage wasn't my emotion. My emotions were just, what? Like shocked. Oh, didn't like the trade, Edward. Good morning to you. Yeah, I didn't like it either. Now, I can accept it if it's a precursor to something else. But if it's not, I think it'll do more harm than good. Phil, you should try to get Big Al on, or Chet, or I will get them on. Absolutely. I've had them all on before. I'll work on that. We got Sam Ostry from The Score and Fox the Gambler, Pick Swap Media. Great basketball mind coming on tomorrow morning. Tuesday next week, we got Ed Kratz. After that, I will get Al, Chet, and Bill on in the next week or two. Lock it up. Run game got better once Stout got demoted. It's possible. I don't remember if the run game ever got better last year, to be honest, Marshawn. But, yeah. Sixers got 2 old guys on their roster that don't play. They do. They still need to make one more move because they had to clear 2 roster spots because of Barlow and Walker's 2-way contracts, right? So there is going to be more action with the Sixers today. I guarantee it. I would be shocked if Eric Gordon is here after today. But still, it's frustrating, Edward. It's frustrating. Damn shame people don't wait for at least the end of the deadline, if not the buyout market, to get emotional about it. I'm not sure what the Sixers cap-wise are even allowed to do at the buyout market with the fact that they're with their situation financially. So I'm not even sure what they're allowed to add. Stout probably got sick and tired of these rug monkeys and bounce. He might have. Just feels like a typical Sixers regret down the line. Plus, he goes to the defending champs. Plus, I wouldn't be surprised if Duke blackballs Sixers in the future. That's all. There's so many different things there. Regret down the line, very possible. And it's to OKC, the defending champs, who we gave up pretty early on, Isaiah Joe, who's now gone there and won a title, right? And I don't know anything about Duke blackballing the Sixers. I'm not sure if that's even a possible thing, but like, you can't blackball them, right? Can you? All they got to do is draft them whether they want to or not, whatever. It's a great situation for Jared McCain wins in this situation. Jared McCain goes from the Sixers to the defending champs with the best record in the NBA, which is all big deal, right? Jared McCain wins in this situation, and he does pretty well and pretty big. Sixers have plenty of Duke goodwill, keeping a garbage GM like Billy King employed all these years. And treating, that's true. They do have Allah as well. I always forget that Allah was a Dookie. I do. I always forget that. My gut feeling tells me Morey is going to give us the excuse that he needs cap space for buyouts, but Wizards didn't buy out Anthony Davis. I wouldn't want Anthony Davis here at all anyway. I wouldn't. I still don't understand what's going on in the NBA. The Wizards trading 2 first-round picks to get Anthony Davis. Why? Just like Jaren Jackson getting traded for 3 first-round picks to another bad team. Like, it makes no sense to me. Eagles drafting O-line first round. They're definitely going to consider it. I think they considered it this past year, Scotty. I think Howie Roseman had his worst draft in a while, not by the players he chose, but how he read the draft room. I think in the first, second, and third round, there were guys, and pardon me, it's been almost a year now, I forget the names. There were guys I think he wanted at certain spots, didn't get them because they didn't fall, and he had to pivot to Jihad, to Drew, and whatnot. I think he had all intentions of boosting up the O-line early last year. So he will definitely do it. Now, here's the thing. You used to have just Stoutland and him in Howie's ear. These are the kind of guys you look at. Now we're going to have a new O-line coach with different philosophies. Do we draft different kinds of O-linemen now? Going forward, we're going to have a different style of offensive line, different style of offense. So what kind of offensive lineman? I don't know. But they will absolutely target O-line early in the draft, first, second, third round. I would be shocked if 2 new linemen, tackles, guards, centers, forget who, I was doing a mock draft, and there was a guy they said could be a starter at center, but could be an elite swing guard as well, right from the get-go, like round 2 or 3. They're going to get 2 guys with their first 4 picks. That's my stone-cold lock prediction on the draft. 2 O-line in the first 4 picks. Lock it in right now. It's happening. Should hire Jackie Moon. Anyway, this was still like just one of those days yesterday in Philly sports where we're overreacting to both things, the Jared McCain trade and just Stoutland going, right? But I think it's going to go down as one of those days. Could we be possibly overreacting to both the Stoutland and McCain news? Stoutland, old, past his prime, didn't want to pivot. McCain, an extra that we got a first-round pick for. Well, I'm shocked and upset at both things. Could we be overreacting to both things and both of them are not that big of a deal? Is that even possible? Eagles need to draft O-line first. We have proven that O-line is important. We have seen with our strong line. Yeah, absolutely. You build from within the trenches. That's what you do. That's what you do. You build in the trenches. That's it. That is how you win as an NFL franchise. Look at all the teams that draft other positions, tight ends or safeties. No, you build from within, and the O-line is where they're going to build. Would be entertaining singing "Love Me Sexy" before every game. Yeah. Stout did turn some garbage into gold, but that's in the past. Some of it over a decade old. Exactly. What has Jeff Stoutland done? What has Jeff Stoutland done in the last 2 years? Cam Jurgens has regressed, right? Landon Dickerson hasn't stayed healthy. Jordan Mailata, you could say, has regressed the last year, right? None of the guys we brought in this year were able to do anything, right? Drew Kendall, Holland Pierce, Cam Williams. What did they do this year? With all the injuries, what did those guys do? What's on the beer menu this evening? I don't know. Trying to clear out all the old beer from the summer, which sucks because summer beer in the dead cold of winter, it's just not fun, Rick. But I'm trying to clear out my fridge right now. I don't think it's possible, especially stout, but I just have a bad feeling OKC will get the most out of McCain. That's what will hurt. But overall, it is an overreaction. Yeah, look, I agree with you, Scotty. I worry that OKC is going to get – they got a lot of – you know me. I crushed all the Isaiah Joe stands out there. I probably did it on one of your shows. I crushed all the stands overreacting to the loss of Isaiah Joe. And here we go. OKC stealing another one of our guards. Now, that first-round pick could become very valuable in a trade today or this offseason. It could be. But, man, let me tell you, right now in my gut, I have a bad feeling about it. What has he done the last 12? Well, in the last 12 seasons, he's done great, but the last year or two, not. Like I said, Mannion is your new head coach in 2027. I don't know about that. I do know that Nick Sirianni is trying to show how he could change. Nick Sirianni is trying to prove that, hey, look, it's not always just the same old, same old. We can pivot. We had a bad year. We can pivot. Stoutland helped lead to a 2,000-yard running back last year. Don't be so quick to discount Stoutland as a great coach. Not discounting him. Not at all. Trying to see all sides of the conversation. Okay? But this past year, the offensive line sucked. The run game sucked. Nobody developed, okay? We've seen guys regress. Let's just be honest. I think Howie and Jeffrey are sick of this underperforming offense and not having an answer. So we're making changes. And I'm fine with it. Not turning the last 2 years of O-line picks into anything useful also has something to do with this, I'm sure. Keegan and Hinton precisely. Yeah, Miles Hinton was another one. Trevor Keegan was another one. Trevor Keegan's not even on the roster anymore, is he? What is up with Stoutland vitriol? He has 2 Super Bowl rings in Philadelphia. Look, we're not hating on Stout. We're trying to see all sides of it. That's a great point. No one's brought this up, Scotty. No one's brought this up. Stoutland did bring the best out of Mekhi Becton. Then Mekhi Becton left, went somewhere else, and failed so miserably that he's going to get cut, become available again. Do you even want Mekhi Becton back? Like, once all the news dropped on Mekhi Becton being out in Chargers land after this season, everyone's like, oh, we'll bring him back to Stout U, right? Would we even want Becton back if Stout U is shuttered his doors? Would the next O-line coach even get the most out of Becton here? I think that's interesting. I love the Becton aspect of this part right there. It's a good job. Stout leaving us like when Coughlin left the Giants. I don't remember that scenario. Like, I know he left and stuff like that. I don't remember. I don't get the reference, though. Not going to blame Stoutland for an often injured O-line and piss-poor play calling. And don't forget, Barkley still rushed for over 1,000 yards. Blaming Stoutland is naive. So the injuries might not be Stoutland's fault. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, whatever. But not having the next guy up ready to fill in properly might be on Stoutland, right? His love affair with Matt Pryor and keeping him around might be. And let's be honest, yes, Barkley did have over 1,000 yards. I think over 1,100 yards, right? Wasn't it like 1,140 or something? But come on, it wasn't an efficient season for Saquon Barkley, okay? Look, I'm not trying to bash Jeff Stoutland. I'm not. Not at all. I'm trying to see all sides of it. I'm trying to see the whys behind it. But that's it. Losing Stoutland is going to hurt a lot more than people think. It's possible, especially because you need to draft future young offensive linemen. They need molded and groomed. And we all know what the new O-line coach is going to do. It's not easy to spot cracks in the foundation when they're small. But Jeffrey Lurie and Howard Roseman have proven able to do these things. Have faith, right? Greatest owner in sports, Jeffrey Lurie. Greatest GM in sports, Howie Roseman. Let's trust him, right? Howie responds for our next guy up not being good enough player. Howie is part of the blame there, and I've criticized Howie last offseason a bunch. I have, Rick. I have. I have no doubt. I've said it plenty of times that Howie had his worst offseason last year. I have. And he's got to be better this year. And he's got a lot of work to do to make up because of last year's failures. Why is Stout's fault for the lack of other players being healthy or just not talented enough? Well, I mean, if Stout's so great, if he can get the most out of anybody, why couldn't he have guys ready to step up when guys went down? Why did we have to play Landon Dickerson injured all year? Because nobody could fill in for him. Okay? The injuries, very poor player performance are the reason, not Stoutland's fault at all. Okay? Now, injuries happen, right? But isn't it partly also on the coaches to have these guys prepared not to be injured or to know their body? Holding a guy out that's not prepared. Landon Dickerson was hurt all year. Coaches, it's got to be on the coaches to hold someone like Landon Dickerson back the first 3 weeks of the year. Sit those guys out that Giants game before the bye. Eagles just lost their best positional coach. That's a big deal. And let me tell you something. Stoutland's not the first one that we're losing. Okay? Scott Loeffler seems to be out. Aaron Moorhead will be out, it seems like. It's a big loss, but I understand the why. Because you got a new guy. Sean Mannion, he wants his people. He wants people that understand his philosophies. We want a new offense, but we don't want new coaches to run the offense. Make it make sense. What's up, Mitchie Poo? Look, Sirianni's not going anywhere. But this offseason, if it doesn't go well next year, you're going to have a lot more legs to stand on with this conversation. That if this year fails, if we miss the playoffs or are a bad one and done next year in the playoffs, you're absolutely going to see and hear a lot of Sirianni out comments. You are. No doubt about that. Stout was getting paid very well to prepare the less than ideal players to plug in the holes. Well, Stoutland was getting paid. He's probably one of the higher paid O-line coaches. Look, Stoutland isn't going anywhere. At this point, Stoutland is still staying. There were reports. I don't know if it was Tim McManus or somebody else. One of the top Eagles beat reporters said, at this point, he is going to stay in the Eagles organization in some capacity. So maybe Stoutland is still sticking around in some way to help groom and help train and help get these guys through training camp, right? Remember, the only way Stoutland goes somewhere else is if somewhere else offers him an offense coordinator role. And Stoutland's been in the NFL for a long time. No one has ever made him an OC, to my knowledge. They're not going to let him go be the O-line coach of the Giants or the Cowboys. All right? Otherwise, he's going to be here. Stoutland felt his voice wasn't being heard. Yes. But was his voice loud enough? Did his voice have enough backup to it? The offensive line last season, in my opinion, was the main reason this title with the offensive line last season, in my opinion, was the main reason for the Super Bowl title with the tush push. Look, great offensive line, typically yields great results. This year, we had a shit for offensive line. Whatever reason you want to say. But our offensive line was shit this year. Imagine having a bad offensive line and you lose your job. Imagine wanting to fire the best head coach. Look, I agree. Philly sports history, Eagles history, yes. Sports history, I got to think about that one there. Is he better than some of the other guys with the Phillies, 6ers, or Flyers? Probably. Is he better than Charlie Manuel all time? Maybe. I don't know. I got to think about best in all of our teams of all time. That was a tough one right there. Who was also the reason 25 was a Timu 24. Exactly. What if Stout just doesn't want to work for Sirianni? It's possible. It's possible. All scenarios are on the table with this situation here. The O-line is the huge reason for Eagles won 2 Super Bowls, and it's also the reason why when we don't win a Super Bowl, right? One bad season when the organization as a whole failed, And I think that's a fair point. We're pushing Stout aside after one bad year instead of giving him a chance, right? That is fair. That point is very fair. If the money is there, he'd go to the Giants. See, the thing is, no, he's not allowed, okay? The only way we cannot block him from interviewing elsewhere is if it's for a promotion. If the Giants call to ask permission to interview him for the O-line coach job, we say no. And we have all the right there. You cannot, though, block an interview for a promotion, which the offensive coordinator position would be that. Giants have an offensive coordinator. They just signed Matt Nagy. But Stoutland can't go work for Matt Nagy. Eagles already fired Doug. Yeah. Why in the world would this surprise anyone? Exactly. Eagles already fired Buddy. Well, yeah. Sirianni got a top 5 winning percentage all-time as head coach first 5 years. Asking for a friend. We all know the stats. I think he's done with the Eagles. Stoutland probably is done. But we own his rights. We own his contract. Like, he can't just go wherever he wants. He's under contract. We have to approve wherever he goes. So he's either going to go to college, or he's going to go be an OC somewhere, or he's going to stay here in some other capacity. Waste management time. I hope everybody got J.J. Spawn out of their lineups. That's all I can say. Let's go. Waste management Phoenix Open time, baby. Baby. What time do lineups lock? Rico Hoy. Love Rico Hoy this week. But I bailed on him this week because at some point I expect Rico Hoy to have a massive fall off a cliff type performance. And I'm trying to be early on missing out on Rico Hoy. Let's see here what my lineups look like this week, okay? I just want to see ownership percentages here, K1. I got to see ownership percentages. 22 for Siwoo, 16. I love 6% Matthew Fitzpatrick. I love that. Knapp at 11. That's really good. Gala 15. Cootie at almost 20%. That one sucks. And Connors was low. I thought Connors would be higher. What was Scotty Scheffler this week? 27%. Not bad. He's not under contract for 2026. Jeff Stoutland? Everything I have read is that Jeff Stoutland is still under team control for next year, okay? That he is not a free agent to sign elsewhere. That is what I've read, okay? I can't quote which source, but from one of the Eagles beat reporters I've read, he is under contract next year, okay? He is not free to be an O-line coach anywhere else, okay? Unless the Eagles say so, unless they give him permission to do that. But from my understanding, he cannot go wherever he wants. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. The beat reporters are wrong sometimes. There is something to that. We're coming close to the end. We're not going to wrap up yet. We're back up to over 20 concurrent viewers. Guys, if you haven't yet, like, share, subscribe. If you're just jumping into the chat now, make sure you drop your comments. He's totally done. He's totally done with the role. But I don't think he's totally done with the team at this point. Last minute chip on Goddard. I'm a huge Goddard fan this week. I think Goddard was extremely underrated and underpriced this week. I think, what was he, like 9% or like 7,900 on DraftKings? I thought I played Goddard. Maybe it was in one of my other lineups. Chris Goddard was massively underpriced this week. Where was it? I don't even see Goddard on my list. It was a big surprise to a lot of people that the 3 O-line draft picks didn't amount to much, unfortunately. There's more negatives in that ledger than people want to see. Yeah, I agree. Up to 23 likes today. That is not too shabby of a day. We didn't gain any new subscribers today, but we're slowly chipping away on the subscriber. We gained 19 subscribers last week to get to 10, 12. We've only gained 5 this week, but we lost 1 this week, so we've really gained 6, and they've all been in the last 24 hours. So, Robert, thank you. Thank you, everybody. This has been a huge 2 weeks for this channel. So, thank you. You got to put I do have an Excel. I closed the tab out, though. I have all my bets, all my DFS lineups. I have a whole Excel spreadsheet. I do. I just don't have it open on my computer screen right now. I do like my old school notebooks. It keeps track of all my notes and stuff, but I do have a spreadsheet as well. Does Giannis get traded today? The $1 million question, elephant in the room. Whether it's to the Sixers or to somebody else, Does Giannis Antetokounmpo get traded? I don't know. It's a tough thing to do, trade Giannis. You have to change your team, whoever you are, if you bring Giannis in. It's going to cost you a ton. He's 31. I don't know. Rick says no. Very likely. But it wouldn't shock me if he did. There's nothing wrong with physically writing them down. I love old school notebooks. I do. I've got every notebook I have from every podcast I've done since April of 2020. Every note I've written down that wasn't on a piece of scratch paper because I lost my notebook for a day. I got 1, 2, 3. I got 5 old notebooks over there. I got a notebook here. Now I'm going loose leaf in a binder. I save every note. But it isn't like the guy was fired. New peeps want their own guys. Exactly. I do not blame the Eagles for moving on. I do not. Because you want to give the new guy the right to do what he wants to do. I have not jumped over a single comment. I put up your Giannis comment, which was your last one, and I responded to it. Sirianni top 5 winning percentage. I put it up. Is there one comment I've skipped of yours? I have not skipped. I have starred 276 comments. I have put every single one of them on the screen today. Actually, physically writing them down using script has shown to be good for your mental health. I love them. Writing it down helps me remember things. How can you pronounce Antetokounmpo, but not? I can pronounce Bazunhut. It was one mistake I made like 5 years ago or 4 years ago that I'm just rolling with. It's the same reason why I say Giannis instead of Giannis. And just Bazunhut's funny, okay? I know how to pronounce it. Do you? Just so you know. Rick, I don't jump over anybody's comments. Don't ever push that past me. 279 comments, all put up on the screen today. Just so you know. Anyway, we are at the top of the hour, or past the top of the 9:30 mark here. What's on tap the rest of this week? I don't know. The trade deadline tomorrow. Sam Ostry coming on the show tomorrow. We got a jam-packed show tomorrow, actually. After the recent Mavericks deals, Nico Harrison want to consider places like, yeah, exactly. I thought they actually already pulled him off. Or maybe that was just a rumor. Very soon. If Sirianni fails, Mannion is the heir apparent in-house. You don't allow a one-season OC to renovate everything. Look, it's the possible. It's a possibility that he's the heir apparent. It really is. But on the flip side, there's also a strong scenario where Sirianni and this Eagles team succeeds again. Truthfully. And I hope Sirianni and the Eagles succeed again and that we don't have to have that conversation. No, I can't pronounce names, okay? I can't pronounce names at all, okay? But there are certain names I can pronounce, but, you know, people call me out for my mistakes because when you're talking as much as I do, you make mistakes. I know how to pronounce Antetokounmpo and Giannis, and I know how to pronounce Bazunhut. I choose not to on those two. That's it. It's all Holland Pierce's fault. It is all Holland Pierce and Cam Williams. There was a lot of hype on Cam Williams as well. There was. There was a lot of hype. A lot of hype there. Anyway. Time to wrap it up. Tomorrow, draft recap. Depending if the Sixers make any moves today, we might have to have a breaking news live show later today as well. We'll see. At the very least, another Sixers full court press coming out later today. But, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to get to making shorts. I'm going to get to making breakfast. Yeah, too many Sirianni haters. Absolutely, Robert. Absolutely agree with you 100% on that, okay? But we're going to wrap this baby up for the day. Put a nice little neat bow on it. What's more shocking? Stoutland out, 75%. McCain traded, 25%. Pretty held strong there, guys. Like, subscribe, share. If Mannion gets us to the Super Bowl or wins the Super Bowl, he will be offered everything under the sun in head coach position and will take much of the new position coach with him. It's very true. It's a very good point towards the end of the show here. Very, very, very good point right there. We're reshaping everything in his image to only lose him potentially after a year or two. Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap this baby up for the day. Y'all have a great day, I hope. No Holland Pierce. It's the future of the line, yeah. Anyway, Y'all have a great day, a great Thursday. Deadline this afternoon. Will the Sixers make a move? Time will tell. But until then, we will talk tomorrow, guys. Everybody have a great day. Go Birds. And always, 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 bubbles up.